Hello and welcome. Namaste from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. On his two-day visit to India, UK Foreign Secretary David Lambi holds bilateral talks with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. He'll also call on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. India's extreme poverty drops to 5.3% in 2022-23 from 27.1% in 21-1 and 1-2, lifting 269 million people out of poverty, says the World Bank. And Muslims worldwide celebrate Eidul Adha, a sacred occasion which symbolizes devotion, selflessness and compassion. Now, British Foreign Secretary David Lambi is on a two-day visit to India to review bilateral ties in areas of trade as well as defence and security. The British Foreign Secretary met India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar in New Delhi on Saturday. He is also scheduled to call on Prime Minister Narendra Modi later in the evening. During his meeting, the External Affairs Minister said India practices a policy of zero tolerance against terrorism and expects our partners to understand it.
We thank the government of the United Kingdom for the strong condemnation of the barbaric terrorist attack in Pahalgam in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, and for your solidarity and support to India in the fight against terrorism. We practice a policy of zero tolerance against terrorism and expect our partners to understand it. And we will never countenance perpetrators of evil being put at par with its victims.
Well, it's truly a journey to remember and a big boost to connectivity in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in a historic visit on Friday, inaugurated the world's highest railway arch bridge, Chenab Rail Bridge, and India's first cable-stayed rail bridge, the Anji Bridge. He also flagged off two Vande Bharat Express trains from Sri Mata Vaishno Devi Katra to Srinagar and back. Take a look at how these initiatives unfolded.
माता वैष्णो देवी के आशीर्वाद से आज वादी कश्मीर भारत के रेल नेटवर्क से जुड़ गई। उधमपुर, श्रीनगर, बारामूला, ये रेल लाइन प्रोजेक्ट ये सिर्फ नाम नहीं है, ये जम्मू कश्मीर के नए सामर्थ्य की पहचान है। भारत के नए सामर्थ्य का जयघोष है। चेनाब ब्रिज दुनिया का सबसे ऊंचा रेलवे आर्च ब्रिज है। हमारा अंजी ब्रिज भी इंजीनियरिंग का बेहतरीन नमूना है। प्रोजेक्ट पूरा करना मुश्किल था, चुनौतीपूर्ण था, लेकिन हमारी सरकार ने चुनौती को ही चुनौती देने का रास्ता चुना है। ये दिखाता है विकसित भारत का सपना जितना बड़ा है उतना ही बुलंद हमारा हौसला है, हमारा सामर्थ्य है।
And the first Vande Bharat Express train between Katra and Srinagar route began its journey on Saturday as well, a day after Prime Minister Narendra Modi flagged off 2 trains connecting Katra with Srinagar. Passengers excitedly boarded the train for the inaugural ride. Currently, 2 pairs of Vande Bharat Express trains have been introduced on the Srinagar-Katra-Srinagar route. The semi-high-speed trains will operate 6 days a week, reducing travel time between Srinagar and Katra to just 3 hours. This is a significant step in enhancing railway infrastructure in Jammu and Kashmir. And the Prime Minister's office has also highlighted a remarkable milestone. India has slashed extreme poverty to 5.3% in 2022-23, down from 27.1% in 2011-12. According to the World Bank, as reported by the Financial Express on Saturday, there has been a sharp decline, lifting 269.4 million people out of poverty. And this reflects the success of targeted welfare schemes, economic reforms, and improved access to essential services under the Indian government's leadership. The multidimensional poverty index further shows non-monetary poverty dropping from 53.8% in 2005-2006 to 15.5% in 2022-23, enhancing living standards nationwide. This achievement, announced by the Namo app by Prime Minister's office, highlights how World Bank has positioned India as a global model for poverty alleviation, showcasing inclusive growth. The data, based on the 2022-23 Household Consumption Expenditure Survey, underscores a transformative decade for one of the world's largest democracies. Prime Minister Modi's office also posted on X, throwing light on an article by the Economic Times. The article noted how in a significant boost to India's industrial landscape, government initiatives like Make in India and production-linked incentives are fostering a pro-manufacturing environment, as highlighted by Karat Zelit, a global leader in cutting tools, on Saturday. The Economic Times reports that India's manufacturing sector is poised for growth, driven by workforce upskilling, R&D investment, and sustainable circular economy practices. This development positions India as a competitive player at the global scale and attracts international companies to set up facilities and collaborate. With Karati Zit expanding its local production in Bengaluru and Kolkata, this shift underscores India's potential to lead in advanced manufacturing, bolstered by government support as well as a skilled workforce, marking a new era of economic employment and empowerment as well as and innovation. Now, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has laid out the Government of India's new position on zero tolerance of terrorism and assured retaliation against Pak-sponsored terrorism. Highlighting India's stand on terrorism, Rajnath Singh has written an article in India's national daily Times of India. He has said that terrorism is a scourge on humanity. It thrives on misguided notions of revolution, martyrdom, and a romanticized view of violence. The assertion that one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter is a dangerous misnomer. True freedom can never be built on fear and bloodshed. The currency of terrorism is fear, yet even in spreading fear, they have failed to instill any sense of pessimism. India is testimony to this fact, whether it's 26/11 or 2001 Parliament attack or the recent Pahalgam attack. India stands taller, stronger, and more resolute than ever. Singh also called for a clear global definition of terrorism and urged freezing the finances of terrorist groups and their state sponsors. He warned of Pakistan glorifying terrorists, risking nuclear weapons misuse. Singh urged unified global condemnation of terrorism and worldwide cooperation to eliminate it. Now, Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister of India and the co-chair of the Coalition of Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, P.K. Mishra, interacted with representatives of member countries and organizations of CDRI at Nice in France. The Principal Secretary welcomed African Union Commission as the newest member of the coalition and appreciated how 54 members have so far joined the CDRI, bound by a common belief that resilience must be embedded in the very foundations of deployment. Representatives from Fiji, Guatemala, Ecuador, Brazil, UK as well as UNDRR and World Bank also shared their commitment to building a disaster-resilient infrastructure with a special focus on coastal infrastructure in the island states. Meanwhile, India's global outreach on Operation Sindoor is now in its final leg. Out of 7 multi-party delegations carrying the message of India's Prime Minister and a resolute stand against terrorism, 5 delegations have now returned after concluding their successful visit to the respective countries. In Washington, D.C., however, the delegation led by Congress MP Shashi Tharoor engaged in candid conversations with members of the U.S. Congress, think tanks as well as intelligentsia, as members of the American Press Corps at a reception hosted by the ambassador. He thanked the leaders for their warm presence and said their active contributions to advancing India-US partnership are deeply valued. Shashi Tharoor also attended a lively session with Washington-based media at the National Press Club in D.C., moderated by its Indian-American treasurer, Poonam Sharma. The issues taken up were related to Operation Sindoor and India's action against terrorism.
25. This conference is being hosted in Europe for the very first time. I thank my friend President Macron and the government of France for their support. I also extend my wishes for the upcoming United Nations Oceans Conference. Friends, the theme of this conference is shaping a resilient future for coastal regions. Coastal regions and islands are at great risk due to natural disasters and climate change. In recent times, we saw Cyclone Remal in India and Bangladesh, Hurricane Beryl in the Caribbean, Typhoon Yagi in Southeast Asia, Hurricane Helen in the United States, Typhoon Usagi in Philippines, and Cyclone Chido in part of Africa. Such disasters cause damage to lives and property. Friends, India also experienced the pain during the super cyclone of 1999 and the tsunami of 2004. We adapted and rebuilt, factoring in resilience. Cyclone shelters were constructed across vulnerable areas. We also helped build a tsunami warning system for 29 countries. Friends, the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure is working with 25 small island developing states. Resilient homes, hospitals, schools, energy, water security, and early warning systems are being built. Given the theme of this conference, I am glad to see friends from the Pacific, Indian Ocean, and the Caribbean here. Further, I am happy that the African Union has also joined the CDRI. Friends, I would like to draw your attention to some important global priorities. First, courses, modules, and skill development programs on disaster resilience need to become part of higher education. This will build a skilled workforce that can tackle future challenges. Second, many countries face disasters and rebuild with resilience. A global digital repository for the learnings and best practices would be beneficial. Third, disaster resilience requires innovative financing. We must design actionable programs and ensure developing nations have access to finance. Fourth, we consider small island developing states as large ocean countries. Due to their vulnerability, they deserve special attention. Fifth, strengthening early warning systems and coordination is crucial. This helps timely decisions and effective last mile communication. I'm sure that discussion in this conference will consider these aspects. Friends, let us build infrastructure that stands firm against time and tide. Let us build a strong and resilient future of the world. Thank you.
Well, there you heard Prime Minister Narendra Modi's video message at the International Conference on Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, that's ICDRI 2025. ICDRI, rather Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, CDRI, is an India initiative and India is taking it forward with this conference. He also mentioned there the International Solar Alliance, which is again a major initiative, the global initiative taken by India along with France to ensure that the world gets the benefit of as much renewable energy as possible through a global grid as well, and that too will help the environment and bring down disasters overall. We'll keep getting you updates from this important conference as well, but let's move on for the time being. Well, the BRICS Parliamentary Forum, which was held in Brasilia in Brazil, has sent a significant diplomatic message by unanimously condemning the recent terrorist attack in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir. The forum, which included representatives from India, Brazil, Russia, China, South Africa, Iran, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Ethiopia and Indonesia, all of them expressed a united resolve to combat terrorism at a global scale. The Indian delegation was led by Speaker of the lower house of the Indian Parliament, Om Birla, who highlighted in his address that terrorism has become a global crisis that can only be effectively addressed through international cooperation. At the conclusion of the conference, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla was handed over the chairmanship of the 12th BRICS Parliamentary Forum, scheduled to be hosted by India next year. India will now play an active role in fostering stronger cooperation between BRICS parliaments and promoting a collective approach to tackling global challenges. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live, we'll recall 11 years of good governance under the Modi government. And the flood situation improves in parts of northeast India, although the Met Department still warns of heavy rains.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, the Indian government has completed 11 years of governance under Prime Minister Modi's leadership. Up next, we get you good governance and get you how good governance has impacted lives and the Indian economy. Now, from isolation to integration, the northeastern part of India has witnessed a decade of transformation. Prime Minister Modi's Act East is unleashing the northeast's potential as India's gateway to Asia. Peace in this part of the country is turning the conflict zones into development hubs. DD India's Vishal Varister brings you this report on 11 years of the Modi government and the northeastern region of India.
The Northeast region is now a gateway to the Southeast Asia. Hill states like Nagaland have now become more accessible by a continuously increasing train network.
Nagaland is a hill state. You have railway head in Dimapur more than 100 years ago. Then it has come to the next station, and the railway station is coming to the capital Kohima. So this year also we are opening to one station, and 4 lane has reached Kohima, and then it will go its way to Imphal, and that is the route to look East policy, and the Act East policy is in action, and that is declared as National Highway, Trans Highway to Southeast Asia.
The drastic change in the northeastern region has been the result of a decisive leadership at the center.
There has been a complete paradigm shift in the attention that's given to the Northeast in terms of the thought process, in terms of the financial investments, the development. So from all levels, there has been a huge change. Starts off with the Honorable Prime Minister himself, who has come more than 70 times to the Northeast in the last 11 years. More than 700 visits by different ministers of the Government of India have been made to Northeast.
But that is not all. To make Northeast AI ready, a blueprint of skill development has already been finalized. Once a frontier region of the country, the northeastern region has now become a treasure trove of opportunities. Vishal Baristo's report for DD India.
Now, Darshan Rana, chairperson and managing director of the Rana Group, has lauded the remarkable economic transformation India has witnessed under 11 years of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership. Rana highlighted the shift in India's economic landscape, describing it as a drastic and determined leap towards self-reliance.
I saw many changes in this government, the way they have reformed and the economic development, social welfare in 11 years. We have so drastically changed in the economy as well as the controls on the systems. The way economy has grown from 10th position to 4th position today, it's a miracle. No normal person can do. So the growth in GDP and the revolution in the GST and Make in India programs, Digital India programs make our country very efficient.
And Shreyas Gupta, Director General of the Indian Auto LPG Coalition, also praised 11 years of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership in India, calling it a time of real impact and transformative leadership. He highlighted how the Modi government has consistently turned challenges into opportunities, creating systems that touch the everyday lives of millions of people.
As we mark 11 years of Shri Narendra Modi ji's leadership as the Prime Minister of India, we are not just reflecting on a timeline, we are witnessing the transformation of a nation. These 11 years have been about speed, scale and self-confidence. They have seen governance that is bold, decisive and deeply rooted in the ethos of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas or Sabka Prayas. From ensuring financial inclusion through Jan Dhan Yojana to bringing dignity to millions through Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, From launching the world's largest health assurance scheme, Ayushman Bharat, to rolling out Digital India that has empowered even the remotest corners. This is governance that is not limited to announcing schemes. It delivers impact.
Now for some more good news from the northeastern part of the country. The Assam flood situation is improving, with the floods affecting victims being reduced to 4.4 lakh, that's 440,000 people, and this is in 18 districts. The IMD has issued yellow alerts for Tripura, Mizoram, Nagaland, Manipur. Heavy rainfall is likely at isolated places over Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram as well as Tripura. According to the latest ASDMA report, 5 rivers are flowing above the danger level. The receding of floodwaters has reduced the number of villages affected to around 1,296. Now, Sri Bhumi remains the worst affected district, with 2.1 lakh people being affected, that's about 210,000, followed by Hailakandi, where 120,000 people have been affected, and then Katra, which has 70,000 population affected. No fresh deaths have been reported, keeping the death toll to 16 till now. Over 2.96 lakh, that is again 296,000 lakh animals are facing the brunt of reeling floodwaters. Now, the SDRF, the DDRF, Inland and Water Transport, Fire and Emergency Services, local administration officers are all carrying out rescue operations relentlessly. On Friday, 84 medical teams were deployed, with Kachar alone setting up 65 teams. The SDRF teams rescued over 30 people through 22 boats that were deployed in the state. Now, Muslims worldwide are celebrating their second holiest festival, Eidul Adha, also known as Eidul Zuha or Bakrid, today. Scores of devotees thronged the historic Jama Masjid to offer prayers and celebrate Eidul Adha. Dressed in traditional attire, worshippers came together in a spirit of devotion, unity and celebration. As one of the most significant celebrations in the Islamic calendar, it honors the unwavering faith and devotion of Prophet Ibrahim and marks the end of the annual Hajj pilgrimage. But beyond its religious significance, Eidul Adha is also a moment to strengthen bonds with family, friends, colleagues and loved ones. In Rajasthan's Ajmer city, people gathered in large numbers at on the occasion of Eid. They offered prayers and exchanged greetings of peace and goodwill. The Balnoi Battalion of the Indian Army organized Eidul Adha celebrations and joined local civilians in marking the occasion in the Balnoi area. Time now to get some sporting updates. Five-time world champion Magnus Carlsen has clinched his 7th Norway chess title after American Grandmaster Fabiano Caruana defeated star Indian player D. Gukesh to grab 3 full points in the final round. Carlsen secured the crown after a dramatic final round where his closest challenger, reigning world champion D. Gukesh, faltered at the last hurdle. In the final classical game, the defending champion drew against India's rising star Arjun Iragesi. Meanwhile, Fabiano Caruana finished second with 15.5 points, while Gukesh ended third with 14.5 points. Iragesi was fifth with 12.5 points. And that's all we have for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates on DD India's mobile app. Just scan the QR code then on the screen and there you have it. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Royan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.